Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to WJRC Review Center. So while waiting for others to join us in our live streaming, I would like to greet all our viewers. Kanina 8, ngayon 6 na lang. So paramihin pa muna natin. Sayang naman yung topic dahil ang ating speakers ay naghanda talaga for this free review for examination. Licensure examination for teachers. Hello, Ma'am Ashnia. Ashnia Boransing Polog. Good afternoon also to Ma'am Erica Katuray. Ayan na, tinag na kayo ni Doc Anabelle Edison Recto and Raymond P. Kabakungan. To all our viewers, please share our live streaming. And if you can also tag your friends, especially those who are preparing for the licensure examination for teachers this year, kindly tag them because this live streaming, this webinar is free. And our topic is on the professional subjects. Actually, this is a series of webinars for free for teachers. Hello, good afternoon to Sheena Bariso and Julius Bonza. To our viewers, please comment your school and your year level. Siyempre may mga students ata na nag-enroll na kahit di pa sila magte-take ng LET ay gustong manood dito sa ating free webinar. Okay, good afternoon once again, and we will now begin our webinar on principles of teaching. Let me now introduce to you our resource speaker. Our resource speaker for today is presently a faculty member of the Department of English, Foreign Languages and Linguistics in PUP Manila, Philippines. She teaches languages, research, and various subjects in linguistics and education. She finished her degree, Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English at St. Paul University, Surigao. Master of Arts in English Language Teaching at the PNU Mindanao. Master of Educational Leadership and Management at the University of Sydney, Australia, and Doctor of Philosophy, major in Education at Father Saturnino Orios University. She is a recipient of the Australia Aid Scholarship through Philippine Australia Human Resource and Organizational Development Facility in 2008. Her research interests include language assessment and teaching strategies in English. Aside from that, she also caters public speaking engagements on topics like leadership, management, education, ethics, research, business writing, and the like. Let's welcome our resource speaker on principles of teaching, one of the professional education courses in the licensure examination for teacher, Dr. Anabelle A. Gordonas, aka Doc G of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Santa Mesa, Manila. Good afternoon, Doc G.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So it's my pleasure to be invited in this coterie of professionals, particularly the professional teachers would be this year. So i-claim na natin. I'm sure that we have a variety of audience from different institutions. So thank you for being with us this afternoon. Sir Jack, would you like to say something about the event that we're going to have today?
Yes, good afternoon, Doc. Yeah, actually, this is the first topic that WJRC Review Center would be offering for free for all students and graduated students from different universities, colleges, taking up licensure examination for teachers this year. So this is for free. And while we were also offering syempre yung mga review programs namin ay may mga bayad yung iba, but of course we will start offering for free. First, because we would like to help students, especially yung mga nag-aspire na maging licensed professional teachers na um, kahit papano magkaroon sila ng mga basic concepts and principle in the sa topic about principles of teaching, no, sa education. At dahil dito, mas maganda siguro na i-invite natin yung ating mga viewers, no, to mention their kanilang schools, yung name, school, at saka kung anong year level na sila. Lalo na yung mga nanonood sa atin sa Facebook page natin. Dalawa pala yung Facebook pages ng WJRC Review Center. Yung una, yung main page namin, WJRC Review Center. At yung pangalawa, yung page na para sa mga teachers o kumukuha ng LET. Yung LET Review by WJRC Review Center. So i-follow nyo po yon para mas ma-update kayo sa mga free lecture series namin with regards to licensure examination for teachers. Yun lang po.
Ayun. So, ayan, thank you, Sir Jack. So, actually, the Review Center has invited professionals and educators who would be willing to share when it comes to review, particularly from Philippine Normal University. And then, syempre, ako from PUP. So, I am very much excited not today to be the 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 first one not to do this. Okay, so I'm sure everyone is excited, but for now, I would like to ask all the participants to please get a pen and paper. So I need your cooperation in this activity because you're to draw something. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute not to get your pen and paper. Okay, so I'm actually following the Facebook Live. So we do have audience. So for now, I'm sure they are ready not to respond to the activity. So we shall start with the instructions. Okay, so can I see now the response of the viewers from the FB Live to please say hello or maybe happy Valentine's Day so we could start the game or the activity. Everyone, you may key in your comments in the FB Live chat box. Okay, so may mga ano. Sige, I'm monitoring. Hello everyone from our FB viewers. So if you're ready to join the activity, so please say hello para I could see that you are with me. No? So si Sir Julius says hello. No? So I'm sure ready na si Sir Julius. Okay. So, ayan, happy Valentine's Day. Hello, o di ba? Hello everyone. So, I guess you are ready now to draw. So ito lang yung instructions. I'm not going to share a PowerPoint, but you need to listen not to the instructions that I'm going to give. Okay, so basically the activity is for you to draw something. Okay, so are you ready? I guess you are all ready. So here are my directions. So so there are actually four things that you're going to do with this activity, okay? So here is the first direction. In your paper, I assume you are having a one short band paper. You are going to draw a triangle in a wide perspective at the upper portion. Again, at the upper portion of your paper, you are going to draw a triangle in a wide perspective. Okay, so I'm sure you have gotten now the first instruction. The second would be below the triangle, you are going to draw a wide rectangle. Okay, so below the triangle, you're going to draw a wide rectangle. Okay, so the third instruction, inside the rectangle that you have just drawn, you are going to draw a vertical rectangle at the center and squares from the right and left sides. Okay, so I suggest you focus on the instruction and never give any hint in our chat box. Third instruction, inside the rectangle, you're going to draw a vertical rectangle at the center and squares from the right and the left sides. And lastly, inside the vertical rectangle, you're going to put a huge dot on the left middle side. Again, inside the vertical rectangle that you have just drawn, you're going to put a huge dot on the left middle side. So I guess by now you have already an idea on what our activity is. So everyone, if you have a cell phone and a camera with you, I want you to screenshot your drawing and post it in our chat box if it's okay with you. So I'm going to give you a minute not to do this. I hope you can share your output if it's okay with you. Thank you. So we are still waiting for the result, no, of the or the output that should be posted by our participants. Sir Jack, do we have some submissions already from the chat box? Do not worry if you will not get the correct answer. No, what matters is we are here. We are very much willing, no, to learn. We are able to get clues from the instructions. Yeah. So please submit your output if it's okay with you. Happy Valentine's Day, Dr. Josephine Figueroa from Pampanga. She's actually a supervisor. Thank you, Ma'am Jo. So I'm sure the participants are maybe shy to share their outputs. But, we are teachers and I know naman na we have the talents not to draw or when it comes to drawing. Officer Leroy, can you please show your output if it's okay or if it's fine with you? Okay. Okay lang. So maybe the problem, no, if you don't have a camera, then you cannot really share, no, the right or the right output that I'm asking. Well, it's okay, but let me share to you now the file, okay, for you to see it. So just while waiting, no, if you're open, no, to share your drawing, may I request Sir Raymond Kabakungan, please encourage your classmates, maybe, or friends to share your output, if you may. I cannot share. I am having a problem on how to share this. Okay, nasa FB Live daw sila. Sir Ken of WJRC, I cannot share my slides. I don't know what happened. It's still processing. So I'm still monitoring the chat box. If you're generous enough not to be open, not to share your output, then please do so. Sir Raymond, nasan ba yung output mo? Si Ma'am Karen. So I'm having a problem, no, when it comes to sharing my PowerPoint. So maybe, I don't know. Sandali lang ha. So still monitoring the chat box. Wala pa rin si-send na output. Ay, sayang naman yung chance. Hello?
Hello, Doc G. Ma'am,
Yes.
hindi po sila makakapag-send dito sa box natin dahil
Ay,
tatlo lang tayo ni Sir Ken ang nandito.
yes sir, sa FB Live, I'm actually monitoring if they, sa bagay, can they not
As
share
FB.
doon sa FB Live?
Opo, hindi
Pero
po.
anyway, okay lang po. Oh, as regards my PowerPoint, sir, sinend ko sa email ng PCPD. I can't share it, no, sa StreamYard right now. Okay. So, I'm sure, while waiting for the PowerPoint to process. So, I'm sure you're excited for the upcoming LEP, no? So, ako, I remember when I was 21 old, when I got my first exam. It was actually I was actually a newly graduate PSED English major that time, no? So I did not have a review, to be honest, because after graduation, I had a job already, so I juggled my time. And that time, no, to be honest, the review was not my priority, maybe because that time it was expensive and I don't have that much budget for that. So what I did was I spent my time alone reviewing my notes, and at the same time, since I am already teaching that time, so I was able to teach and at the same time review, no, apply the concepts, the information, the principles about teaching, no, vis-a-vis with my profession as a teacher that time. So after several months, I took my first exam, and luckily, God is good. I was able to make it as take one only. No, so it was a gift. It was a really riveting experience for me. So ito yung first topic natin today, which is focused on principles of teaching. So thank you to our participants here with us today. So may I request the PCPD team to roll over the slide for this next slide. Okay, so here is the thing that I let you draw kanina. I don't know if it shows right now. Yeah. So I answered. Leroy, is Leroy here? Were you able to get the correct drawing? Who among you here sa chat box ang nakakuha ng tamang output, no? But anyway, ito po yung correct output that you are expected to draw. So, ano po ang lesson that we can get from this activity? So, syempre, sabi ni Raymond, yes po. So, I'm sure I know Raymond and his classmates. So, and I'm sure that our participants in the uh, FB Live were able to get also the output. Kasi kanina may nag-comment no na, Ma'am, are we going to build the house? So basically, it's correct. No? So take a look at this drawing. So it represents your journey, no, in the licensure examination for teachers. So if you are not going to get the best blueprint for yourself, basically, you can never get, no, the outcome that you would like to achieve at the end of the journey. So it's important, no, that you follow all the nitty-gritty when it comes to taking the exam. Syempre, you're going to have the review, and this free let review is just another journey for you to really embrace para successful kayo along the way. Okay? So I am going to start the review right now. If you want to comment or maybe say something, no, about the concepts that I am going to present or share, so you are very much free, no, to do that via our chat box. Okay? So what is teaching? Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng teaching? So, it is defined as engagement with learners to enable their understanding and application of knowledge, concepts, and processes. I remember when I was in high school, I don't know what course will I take because, I was a working student, but there was inside of me that's telling me that I want to be a teacher. So when I graduated, I did not right away get the the chance to go to schooling. So I sought unemployment, but that time while with my employment, I felt that there was an emptiness in my heart. That is why I really did my best not to enroll in a course, and that's education. Okay, so I was excited to really involve myself with all of the teaching principles, concepts. No, so when we are teaching, we submit ourselves, no, to the idea that learning is every day. It's continuous. We are mastering the subject matter when we do everyday's lesson and other stuff. No, so it includes design, content selection, delivery, assessment, and reflection. So I'm sure all of these things are familiar to you. That's why it's imperative that you should have a sort of review as regards this thing, especially during COVID-19. There are a lot of things that are happening, no? COVID just like, I mean, it just came like a thief in the night, and everything changes from the normal situation that we're usually doing, right? So there was flexible learning, blended learning, hybrid learning, and as a teacher, as a would-be licensure examination teacher, so it's important that you know all of these things, okay? Another one is teaching is fundamentally about creating the pedagogical, social, and ethical conditions under which students agree to take charge of their own learning individually and socially. So we know that when we are a graduate of an education course, we are aware that students come from different backgrounds. They come from different diversity. So it's important that we know ourselves how to cope up socially, no? Or maybe individually. So we are actually dealing with the Rubik's Cube, meaning kailangan we are familiar with the environmental, social, economic challenges that we are dealing with right now, especially in terms of educational sector. During COVID-19, teachers or kayo, I know that some of you are on the verge of practice teaching, so you are aware of the current status, no, of the Department of Education as regards the milks and other stuff. So you should know all these things kasi I'm sure this stuff will be asked in your licensure examination for teachers. So it's also described as both a science, no, and art. Bakit science? Because it is based on psychological research, no, that identify the cause and effect relationship between teaching and learning. So, di ba, we are training our students. You are trained to be owners of your own learning. That's why you are trained to be problem solvers, critical thinkers, analytic individuals who can solve problems. That's why it involves science, because from the moment you are looking for a solution, so there from that you're able to indulge yourself, no, to really look for an answer, no? And you are able to draw hypotheses, look for solutions, and other stuff. It's an art because it shows how those relationships are being implemented in successful and artistic teaching. So I'm sure you are able to demonstrate understanding on the various personalities, learning styles, and attributes of the students. No, the minds, the hearts, and the skills of every student is special, and it boils down to our role as teachers how to calculate things and employ possible strategies to really enliven and imbibe the positive things for our students. The teacher, no, she is one or he is one of the primary movers when it comes to delivering effective lesson. So she is one of the key factors in any teaching learning process. No? So from that, the teacher is expected, of course, to prepare, no? To prepare for the lesson plans that he or she is expected to do. When you are a graduate of elementary, then you are expected to teach in the elementary or sa preschool. On the other hand, pag secondary naman, then you may teach in the high school, or if you can meet the requirements set by the college uh, schools that you would like to apply, so you need to take master's degree, kailangan pasado ka ng let, ganun yun. No? So that's why you are here. No? So congratulations. Thank you for being part of this endeavor. Okay? The next one is prepared learning environment. So for now, from the usual brick and mortar or traditional classroom learning experience, we navigated. There was an online migration. Imagine that. No? So I can feel you. Before COVID, my laptop was actually Celeron. So kaya lang, syempre, ang hirap, no, when it comes to uploading, downloading. So, I innovated. Mahirap nga lang because of the financial constraints. But, dapat open tayo. And we're able not to really do what's best for our students. Another thing is, I know you are adept not to the various technological advancements. So it's your edge right now as 21st century learners to really enjoy it and maximize all the learning uh, experiences that you can have while along the way, because it's important that we are also digital natives this time. Kahit kami medyo may mga edad na, so it's not an excuse for us not to really embrace technology. Another one is, it's also our job to select appropriate content, yung mga strategies and learning materials in the classroom. On the other hand, meron din tayong very important person along the way when we are embracing, no, the realm of teaching. Ito yung learner natin. No? So he or she is the embodied spirit. No? He or she is a union of a sentient body and rational soul. The learner is the most important element of teaching. No? So from that, we are aware that the learner has different characteristics, yung age, maturity, learning styles, family background, experiences, motivation, values, attitude. So from that palang, I know with your 4-year education that you have, you are trained to be flexible and agile, no, from the different learning personalities that you have in the classroom. And I'm sure some of you are into pre-service teaching experience right now. So you have seen and you have experienced how to be patient. No? So from that, we really have the foreseen or forecasted our job as a teacher. So the learner has the power to see, to touch, smell, and taste, perceive, imagine, retain, recall, recognize, no? Yung mga other stuff when it comes to the learning styles of our students and other things. So therefore, as teachers then, it's pivotal that we're going to care for the embodied spirit learner. Yung mga learners, sila yung pinaka-importanting people, no, na closest sa heart natin. So let us feed his or her body as well as his or her spirit. That's why it's significant that we train them holistically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and other stuff, mentally. So, kaya tayo ay nag-aaral, we are embracing continuous improvement because we could never serve in an empty cup or in an empty vessel. We need to really find ways how to become intelligent, smart, wise, no? When it comes to teaching and learning experiences. Now, let us try to explore on the fundamental equipment of the learner. So as we all know, we do have different cognitive faculties, no? And we know and we are aware that based on the Dale's cone of learning experience, our students learn in different ways. So meron silang 5 senses, may instinct, may imagination, may memory, no? May intellect. So it's imperative that we need to diversify our understanding about this. So with the senses that our learners have, so they're able to see, to hear, feel, taste, and smell whatever it is to be learned. Noon, parang sinasabi ng teacher, let us imagine, you are in Greece, ganon. Pero ngayon, everything is possible, no, with that the use of 3D material or equipment. Your students may go to Greece, no? Or I mean, it depends on the creativity of the teacher. Now, going back to the five sentences, okay? Why do we need to review these things? Because this will basically ask, no, in your licensure. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng instinct? So it comes from Latin word, no? It means instinctus, which means impulse. Yung parang the moment you see something, you hear something, there is something within you that tells, that communicates, whether it's through audio or visual or through haptics, no? So this means that our learner has a natural or inherent capacity or tendency to respond to environmental stimuli such as danger signs for survival or self-preservation. So it's innate. Parang it's a built-in device that it's something within you. No? Another one is imagination. It has the ability to diversify his senses, no, from the mental image of something that is not perceived through the senses. The next one is memory. No? So as the teaching learning process goes on, you will have a lot of to commit to memory formula like finding the area of the circle, the stages of man's life, your first crush, kunyari, or your first roller coaster experience. No, according to psychology, whenever you get a special event of your life, sometimes it has an amplification effect, meaning talagang tumatagal siya sa memory because it is special to you. No? And another one is intellect. So here, the learner can engage in cognitive processes such as forming ideas or concepts, reasoning out, and making judgment. Right now, we are focusing on the soft and hard skills of every student or every learner. Kasi at the end of their graduation, we are expected them to be employable, meaning they have acquired multi-literate concepts like yun nga, yung hard and soft skills, yung leadership, management, all of these things are crucial because as we are aware na nandito na tayo sa education 4.0 heading off to Industry 5.0 or Education 5.0. At ikaw, kung ikaw ay let what be taker, dapat alam mo kung ano yung nangyayari ngayon. No? So basically, it's another paradigm shift that we need to really be aware of. Meron din tayong tinatawag na appetitive faculties. So the learner's appetitive faculties are feelings and emotions and rational will. No? So I'm sure you're aware of these things. No? But just a sort of review, emotion is on-off switch for learning. Merong mga positive feelings and emotions na which make our learners exciting, no? Depende yon, nasa bola natin kung paano natin i-encourage ang students. Yung first 10 seconds sa motivation is critical because it's there that you involve your students. May student engagement. Pag nawala yan, everything. I mean, it defeats the purpose of your preparation. So, student engagement, sa motivation pa lang dapat nandun. Lalo na ngayon that we're catering online classes. Another one is will. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng will? So learner's will serves as the guiding force and the main integrating force in his or her character. So by his or her will, the learner's will or the learner wills what his or her intellect presents as good and desirable and makes the learner free to choose or not to choose to do the good as presented by his, her, or intellect. So sometimes when we're talking about this, we can recall what the psychoanalytic theory has shared us. No? So I'm sure you're aware of this. Ano ba? Sino ba ang proponent ng psychoanalytic theory? Paki-comment nga sa chat box. I'm happy meron tayong mga criminology students or I don't know if they're professionals already, no? Kasi importante din kahit hindi tayo education, no, when we are really targeting to pass an examination, this review could also help them. Okay? So, si Sigmund Freud. Thank you, Raymond. Cum laude talaga yan si Raymond. No? So, we know that Simon Freud has introduced three dimensions when it comes to the mind. So, merong id, ego, and superego. So, I know you're familiar with it, so I'll not be explaining it more. So, we are aware that nagiging competitive ang isang estudyante because of the factors that contribute to his or her development. So meron tayong tinatawag na ability, aptitude, interest, family and cultural background, attitude, and values. And these could really make or break someone else's life if not properly guided and nurtured. So really, critical yung contribution ng isang teacher. No? So I thought you're aware of Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, that we are aware. Hindi lang naman si Gardner talaga yung uh, uh, special or sole uh, proponent of intelligence or multiple intelligence theory, no? So marami din yan, or sa learning styles. So, kaya lang, we need to also review din yung concepts about this. So, the concept of intelligence evolved actually several years ago, and we all know that our students learn visually, no? Tapos may sense of tactile din or sa audio, no? So it depends on our learner. So with Howard Gardner's theory on multiple intelligences, the concept of the learner's intelligence has gone beyond linguistic and mathematical intelligences. So there are seven more intelligences in addition to linguistic and mathematical. First, verbal or linguistic intelligence. So ito yung they are sensitive to sounds, meanings, structures, no, and other stuff. So ito yung mga students natin na magiging poet or journalist, novelist, copywriter, or editor. And then we also have students who are into patterns, numbers, and numerical data, and so on. So ito yung mga scientists, mga engineers, computers, analysts, etc. No? Spatial intelligence. So sensitivity to colors, no? Shapes, visuals, puzzles, symmetry, lines, images. So meron silang inclination to representing ideas, kay visually, and so on. So ito yung mga future photographer natin, engineer, decorator, scout ranger, no? Bodily kinesthetic naman, ito naman yung may sensitivity to touch, like movement, physicals or self, no, and other, yung mga athletes na mga estudyante natin. So basically, ito yung mga mechanic, surgeon, they thrive when they use their haptics. No? Yung mga dancer, and so on. Musical, so they are sensitive to tone, beat, tempo, melody, sound, pitch, etc. So ito yung mga songwriter natin, composer, musician, no? And the next one is interpersonal intelligence. So they are sensitive to body language, moods, voice, feelings, etc. So ito yung mga psychologists natin, therapists, consultants, managers, and so on. Intrapersonal naman, so they are sensitive to their own strengths, weaknesses, goals, and desires. So meron silang self discipline, maintain composure, and they thrive alone. Pero we could never deny the fact that these people are very important. Like yung mga scientists nga, mathematicians, engineers, they thrive alone because they need focus, no? And that's the nature of their job. That is, they need to be engaged when they're doing something. Naturalist intelligence, ito na may sensitive to natural objects, no? Like plants, animals, naturally occurring patterns, and they have the ability to analyze ecological and natural situations. Yung mga ecologists natin, yung mga rangers. Okay? And the last one is existential intelligence. So they're basically sensitive to the big picture or existence of why we are here. So yung focus nila ay may mga deep questions about human existence. Okay? So they're able to reflect on the meaning of human existence. So sa ngayon naman, whether you are teaching or you are a criminology student or any course that you have right now, it's important that you need to know the different meanings when it comes to approaches and methods. Sabi nga sa Chinese proverb, a thousand teachers, a thousand methods. First, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng teaching approach? So each set of principles, beliefs, or ideas about the nature of learning which is translated into the classroom. So para siyang guiding light na parang you are translated into a way or pathway para guided ka, parang blueprint siya na kaya mong gawin lahat because you know that you are guided by this particular approach. I'm going to expound this later with the following slides. Ang strategy naman, parang you are a leader, and you know that you would like to have a clear picture, may vision ka na ito ang ganitong gusto kong mangyari sa klase ko. So it's a long-term plan of action designed to achieve a particular goal. So naka-indicate siya sa lesson plan natin like anong strategy, what process will you embrace para you can basically connect the content to the performance that you would like your students to manifest or acquire. So strategy applies to many disparate fields such as military strategy, economic strategy, teaching strategy, and the like. What about the teaching method? No? Ito naman ay it's a way of doing something. It implies an orderly logical arrangement. May steps, may procedures, may step 1, step 2, phase 1, may cyclical connotation na tinatawag. And then, teaching technique naman is a well-defined procedure used to accomplish a specific activity or task. So, it is a teacher's particular style or trick used to accomplish an immediate objective. So, itong method, approach, strategy, and technique are actually embedded doon sa lesson plan, right? Or kahit doon sa syllabus. So, it's important that we know how to dissect each meaning. I mean, we know each difference para we can basically answer questions from the lit, no, questions. So, ito yung relationship ng apat, no? So, una, approach, strategy, method, and technique. So, ang approach, no, it gives rise to a strategy which may use more than one method of teaching. So one teaching method may be employed differently by two different teachers whose teaching style may lead to the use of different techniques. And yung technique naman, nagdidepende yan sa teacher. Kung ano yung style of teaching niya, like she uses ba inductive or deductive or ano ba ang gusto niya, like gusto niya for that day, appreciation lesson or drill lesson ba or whatever it is. Kasi nga iba-iba yung pinanggalingan natin. No two individuals are basically equal. So ito yung examples of teaching approaches na tinatawag, no? So meron tayong teacher-centered, no? So learner-centered, no? Subject matter-centered, so learner-centered, teacher-dominated, so may interactive naman, meaning binibigyan ng chance ang estudyante na mag-explore. No? Pero i-explain ko pa ito one by one. May banking approach and then constructivist, disciplinal, tapos integrated, and so on. So let me explain this one by one. No? So in the teacher-centered approach, the teacher is perceived to be the only reliable source of information. No? This is in contrast to the learner-centered approach. So basically, opposite. So 20 years ago, when I was in college or high school, ito yung ginagamit ng mga teachers. Pero sa ngayon, it's a different way. So from this approach, passive ang estudyante. And normally, ang teacher is bookish. So that was my experience. Pero I don't like that idea. No? I always believe with my students' capacity to learn. And I know that they can create their own understanding based on the lesson. So it's imperative that to let our students discover their own learning. May ownership sila ng sarili nilang concepts, ideas, no, when you present a particular idea. So in the subject matter centered approach, the subject matter gains primacy over that of the learner. So by all means, the teacher finishes teaching the subject matter as scheduled, even if the learners have not learned it. No? So dominated din siya. No? If it also teacher dominated, no? So the teacher does not what she planned without necessarily considering learners' interest. No? So parang hindi na ngayon yung concept ng 21st century teaching. Another one is an interactive classroom. So we'll have, meaning sa 7 C's, no? Collaboration, communication, ito yung target natin. So dapat students are given the chance to interact, no? And the teacher is there to really facilitate the discussion. So ano naman yung constructivism approach? So here, the students are expected to construct knowledge. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na you shouldn't be very afraid that your students can someday solve the problems that you're giving them. Let them experience the real authentic thing in the classroom. Because it's not all about the books na nakasulat doon. It's all about their own learning. They can basically um, experience and appreciate the things that they learn from their own. No? Kasi when they graduate, wala na tayo, right? Sila na yun. And ngayon sa Education 5.0, talagang they're expected to really demonstrate their own learning. So the use of an integrated teaching approach makes the teacher connects what he she or teaches to the other lessons of the same subjects. So interdisciplinary or connects his lessons with other subject. Ang tawag doon ngayon is integrative teaching. Huwag niyong kalimutan, baka this might be asked in your review, okay? Integrative teaching. It means to say that you are connecting, no? The one subject, kunyari ang subject ngayon ay, or yung tinuturo mo ngayon ay English, so you're going to relate na yung lesson in terms of mathematics, ASP, science, etc. And dapat meron kang talent na ganun as a teacher. Okay? So a collaborative approach will welcome the group, teamwork, partnership, group discussion. Kasi we all know, teachers, no, that one of the things para mas maganda yung process along the way is to really encourage our students to be collaborative. Isa sa mga 7 C's that they're expected to really have is collaboration. So let them speak, let them give the voice that is to be heard, from them. In a direct teaching approach naman, the teacher directly tells or show or demonstrate what is to be taught. While in the guided approach, so syempre, ang teacher ay nandun, nagpa-facilitate. So ito naman yung ibang teaching approaches that might be asked in your licensure examination, right? Research-based. So syempre, it's evidence-based. So students are expected to really present something like an evidence. It's based on facts. Like when you let them make a debate or demonstrate a debate, so it's not all about hearsays. When they present their arguments, it's always backed up by evidence. The next one is whole child approach. This is based on the principle that every teacher needs to train students to be holistic learners. So lahat, emotional, creative, psychological, spiritual, and developmental needs. Metacognitive approach. Ito yung tinatawag nating thinking beyond a thinking. So, isa lang yung focus doon. No? So, may cyclical process siya, but along the way, at the end of the tunnel, the student is expected to be a designer of his or her own understanding. No? And problem-based, no? Which is basically connected to guided inquiry or inquiry where the teacher facilitates the discussion or gives something to explore upon, and it's the job of the students to really unfold, no? Ano yung sagot doon. Kaya kung science, di ba, may hypothesis, binibigyan tayo ng mga works to do sa laboratory kasi we are given the freedom. We're given the autonomy, no, to solve something. So ito yung 5 summaries ng teaching perspective. So meron tayong tinatawag na transmission. No? So effective teaching requires a substantial commitment, no, to the content or subject matter. Kasi importante pa rin merong mental processes. my facts, no, my principles that our students need to learn at the end of the lesson. Another one is apprenticeship. So effective teaching is the process of enculturating students into a set of social norms and ways of working. So part siya ng culture where you learn something when you indulge yourself to learn into something. So you involve yourself. You are engaging yourself to be part of that process. Okay? Just like now, you are part of the lead review and it's free. So why not maximize the time? Now, what you need is, if your time is fine, then this is the best way. No? Developmental, so effective teaching must be planned and conducted, no, from the learner's point of view. So hindi lahat ay natutuldukan doon sa libro. Dapat nagbibigay din tayo ng space or opportunity that everyone could still share something or maybe provide or convey a message, no, during actual classroom discussion. Nurturing, so effective teaching assumes that long-term hard, persistent effort to achieve comes from the start as well as from the head. No? So we need to let our students have these things in order to really achieve something. No? Ito yung mga top 20 principles of effective teaching, but I will not be explaining it by one by one. But to sum it up, no, it speaks about yung cognitive, no, affective and psychomotor skills of our students, no, and yung prior learning. Kaya importante pa rin yung review of the past lesson. Kahit traditional siya, but it's quite trajectory when you are on the course of teaching for a day. You activate their prior learning because it's where you can diagnose kung ano yung strengths and weaknesses of your students, and from that you can decide on what to adjust, no, from the content that you are about to discuss for a day, no? So may stages yung development ng learning ng mga estudyante, and dapat hindi natin push kung hindi pa sila ready, and that's why we need to really settle ourselves when it comes to identifying yung lesson plan, yung MELCs, yung syllabus. Dapat naka-anchor lahat doon para siyang Bible, no? So learning is based on context. So generalizing learning to new context is not spontaneous but instead needs to be facilitated. Kasi iba-iba nga yung environmental natin na context, like yung mga situational context. Kunyari, yung mga estudyante mo ay nasa Negros and nag-online teaching kayo. Alam nyo ba ang Negros nung during Odette, may storm, di ba, nung December. So, talagang affected sila. So, from that, naka-adjust tayo when it comes to catering online classes. Talagang apitado sila nung time na yun. So, that is one of our concerns, no? Based on context on how we can cater the best and the best, the nicest platforms for our students. Acquiring long-term knowledge and skill is largely dependent on practice. We can contextualize this based on the concept of Edward Lee Thorndike. Di ba sabi niya yung law of exercise, that when we let our students do the practice or yung sense of exercise every day, or kung may gustong isang skill na dapat ay ma-achieve, so basically, merong law of effect yan. And syempre, pag hindi sila motivated, they can never really target, or you can never let them learn or demonstrate such skill. No? Clear, explanatory, and timely feedback. Importante yung feedback and evaluation because it's there where our students will know kung what to adjust, what to change, and whatever things that you would like to really change. Okay? So ano ba ang mga several things that our students focus when it comes to motivation? So we are aware that they enjoy learning and perform better when they are more intrinsically than extrinsically. So parang it boils within yung passion nila to learn. So dapat tayo, walang conditions to really exert the effort, no? Na dapat we really cater lahat ng aspeto, whether tangible or intangible. Kasi as you know, it boils within. No? So students persist in the face of challenging tasks and process information. So yung mga foundational frameworks ay okay for me, But it's imperative that during the lessons, nagbibigay tayo ng complex learning situations para makater yung critical thinking ng mga estudyante. So teacher expectations about their students affect students' opportunities. Kaya kailangan connected, may alignment, no? Yung motivation, yung learning outcomes, and other stuff. Yung performance-based things na tinatawag. So why are social context, interpersonal relationships, and emotional well-being important to student learning? So as we all know, meron tayong tinatawag na learning is situated within multiple social context. So hindi naman stagnant yung knowledge, no, yung opportunities nila to learn from other people, to collaborate with other people. So it's vital that we let them experience other things, other stuff. So for kunyari, you let them do an assignment where they are going to interview a local government unit leader, no? Or ikaw, paano mo sila i-encourage to really take part of the lessons that you are letting them do, no? And kailangan nagiging happy din sila, I enjoy it. That's why we draft yung mga possible strategies and approaches, mga pedagogy in the classroom. And importante din, how can the classroom best be managed? So, expectations for classroom conduct and social interaction. Kaya kailangan, first meeting pa lang, alam mo na kung paano i-orient yung estudyante mo, no? When it comes to that. Because nag-guided din sila, and mas maganda during the course of classroom instruction, they are part, no, when it comes to formulating rules, no? Kaya nagiging effective yung classroom management kasi you are involving your students. So kasali din, no, sa principles of teaching yung assessment. And during pandemic, may tinatawag tayong assessment 4.0. So may online migration. So from there, siguro na-observe niyo that your students, your teachers are already catering online. May mga diagnostic assessments like may audio na pinapakita or YouTube, or sa formative assessment, meron silang mga vlog that you are asked to perform or maybe do something, no? Kaya crucial that we also migrate our concepts. We divorce from the idea na ganito lang ako, I will not innovate. That's not the concept of the real teacher, because every day is an innovation. It's a progress along the way. Parang curve, hindi siya pababa. Dapat always going upward. Okay? So student skills, knowledge, and abilities are best measured with assessment processes grounded in psychological science. Kaya, siguro, part of your let review is assessment. You know? So we can have that maybe in the coming days. WJRC, within this week, merong 4 lectures, no, from PNU. So why not embrace, no, this opportunity? So kailangan na best assess natin yung mga estudyante natin, no, doon sa assessment. And pinagpaplanuhan siya, and I'm sure you're aware of TOS, reliability, validity. Now, next one is making sense of assessment data depends on clear, appropriate, and fair interpretation. Now, going back to how we're going to describe teachers in the Philippines, we are aware of the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers, which is being an embodiment of the teacher quality in our country. So at the same time, the standards allow teachers, no, to grow their understanding, apply with increasing sophistication across a broader and more complex range of teaching learning situations. Kasi merong iba't ibang functions si teacher: instruction, community extension, research, publication. So itong pagtuturo, pag-prepare lang ng mga PowerPoint materials, lesson plans, instruction pa lang yan, no? So it's not really a bed of roses life when you are a teacher. Hindi ka rin magiging milyonaryo, but when you love your profession, then it eliminates within, right? So ito yung seven domains, but I will not explaining it one by one, but I'm just having a short review on this for you para ma-revisit and wag yung kalimutan no doon sa actual exam. So ito yung strands of the seven domains. Meron tayong domain 1, and that's content knowledge and pedagogy. So this focus on the knowledge and application, yung research-based knowledge, no? Yung positive use of ICT, yung literacy and numeracy, especially sa elementary, yung critical and creative thinking, yung mother tongue, yung classroom communication. So basically more on the mental processes and capacity of the teacher. Meron ding domain 2, which is the learning environment. Like, it's our job to let our students feel na safe sila during the learning experience. So, yung tinatawag na learning milieu, may fair learning experience na especially during pandemic, nag-online, nag-modular tayo. So, how can you support? How can you let your students feel that they are still part of the learning experience? Kaya nga, di ba, nag-group chat yung mga teacher nyo, kinokontakt nyo sa email, because ito yung new normal. In next normal, um, we might be facing hybrid learning. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng hybrid learning? Di ba? It means that a teacher is conducting face-to-face class while others are in an online setting. So baka ito na rin yung new normal, no? Another one is the domain 3, which is diversity of learners. Kaya sa DepEd K-12, may tinatawag na culture-based education, which was anchored doon sa, I hope you're taking note, no? So, sa culture-based education, nakalagay na ang mga estudyante ay iba-iba ang pinanggalingan, iba-iba yung learning styles nila, yung iba gifted, may disabilities naman yung iba. So, may indigenous groups. So, paano natin i-cater? No? How do we strengthen ourselves to really prepare for this? So, dapat alam natin i-cater yon. Meron ding curriculum and planning. How do we plan our teaching and learning processes, yung learning outcomes na dapat ay ma-achieve ng mga estudyante, no? Yung relevance and responsiveness of the learning programs. Kunyari, you are teaching English. So after mag-graduate yung mga estudyante mo, ano yung ano nila, patutunguhan? Are they employable? No, kung hindi sila employable, parang isa ka sa mabiblame doon or pag hindi sila pumasa. Alam nyo ba yun? So dapat it should be a win-win situation. No? And this endeavor is a great opportunity. No? May professional collaboration, no? And teaching and learning resource including ICT. Domain 5 is on assessment and reporting. So inseparable yun sa life natin as a teacher. Always checking papers, preparing TUS, lalo na pag nasa DepEd ka, so kailangan yung nitty-gritty how to do this. Magdi-design ka ng TOS, pag-draft ng mga assessment data, how to communicate the parents, how to present this to the administrators. And domain 6, meron tayong community linkage and professional engagement. So, establishment of learning environments, no? Yung engagement ng parents, yung professional ethics, no? na dapat natin ay may observe, no? And school policies and procedures. And domain 7, so kailangan din nating mag-innovate, kailangan din nating mag-enhance ng knowledge natin or professional engagement. So, that's why nagma-masters tayo, umaattend tayo ng mga licensure examination for teachers review, nagwe-webinar, because these are things which are not urgent but very important. For me, it's important kasi along the way, magagamit niyo siya, lalo na sa licensure examination for teachers. The concepts that I might be discussing to you now are familiar sa inyo, but di ba yung law of exercise, pag nare-recall niyo yung mga concepts na ganito during your exam, then it's quite a big data already, no? So sa ngayon naman, pag-uusapan natin yung types of lessons. No? So meron tayong tinatawag na developmental lesson, no? So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng development lesson? So it's one in which something new is presented and developed. So it may be a fact, a principle, a skill, a generalization, or some knowledge. or maybe something the class didn't know before. Kaya nga dapat open tayo kung ano yung mga sinasagot ng mga estudyante natin, and we'll check it. Kung mali naman, we should process on the way how we're going to communicate with them pag mali yung sagot. No? And may two types yun. Formal, so meaning it uses formal time-tested methods like merong inductive, deductive problem solving. And informal naman, may tinatawag na it has no definite method or definite steps. So, sa steps naman sa informal, no, so may preparation, so ganun pa rin, may cognitive and motivational aspects. And then sa presentation or development of the lesson, so learning by means of questions and teaching aids. So, tinatanong natin yung mga estudyante natin, chine-check natin yung prior learning nila. Importante yan, no? Yung thinking beyond thinking. Para nalalaman natin kung how or to what extent are they when it comes to knowledge formation, that for a day's lesson, ano yung binibigay mo sa kanila. And syempre, may application yan. Because that's where you detect if they are able to process, no, the learning content. And ano ba yung mga conditions of a good development lesson? So meron tayong mastery ng subject matter. So pag mga first 5 years of teaching, mahirap, no? So Raymond, may mga nandito sa group sa FB Live natin, it's gonna be a hell ride. It's not really perfect, no? Yung first 5 years niyo, doon yung matitest yung patience. May mga agony kayo, meron kayong mga stresses in life, but it's worth it along the way kasi pag love mo yung profession mo, it goes beyond. Okay? The next one is recall of past experiences and the teacher's clear awareness of what is to be perceived. And then meron tayong tinatawag na review lesson. So it comes after a development lesson. So a review lesson aims to renew study of the same subject. No? I-recall lang yung past and view this again from a different perspective. So ito yung mga purposes of the review. Normally, pag short pre-lesson lang, mga 3 to 5 minutes, no? It provides the perceptive basis for the new lesson. Titingnan mo lang kung how ready are they, no? And from that, naka-adjust ka na. Parang nagtitraining ka. Pag may tanong ka, yung mga motive questions, and na nakakasagot sila. So you adjust from the different audience that you have. As we all know, meron tayong 3 types of audience. High-tech audience, meaning mas mataas yung pinag-aralan nila sa'yo. So, or if you're dealing with your colleagues, or kung may estudyante ka na advanced na nag-aaral, right? And another one is, meron tayong lay student or lay reader na talaga namang advanced din, nagpre-prepare. So, kailangan hindi tayo relax, no? And the last one is low audience or low audience na kailangan din ay i-guide natin sila because they need more facilitation. And dapat marunong tayong sumayaw, no, sa different types of students na meron tayo. So, marami itong techniques like yung time, wala namang definite time, pero pag-iisipan natin kung paano pinasis ng estudyante yung review lesson. No? Length of review, no time limit for the review. Yung preparation of review should be as well prepared as any lesson. So, ano ba yung mga principles ng review lesson? So, it must be of value to the learner. So, naturally, i-anchor yan sa MELCs or sa syllabus, no, part ng lesson na yon. It should be interesting and may mga psychological principles of learning. Okay? And another one is review of the lesson. So, I'm sure may mga review of or yung the drill lesson, no? So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng drill lesson? So it follows a development lesson. It is intended for automation of certain facts, habits, or skills. No? So from this, nag-shift ka naman kasi ang focus doon or dito is on the drill. So as teachers, dapat tinitingnan natin yung mga references natin because some authors use drills, no, in and practice interchangeably, no. So although both make use of repetition, so they are really different. So drills are more often used in form subjects rather than in content subjects. So sa drill, meron pa rin motivation, may focalization, may repetition with attention, no? May application, ganun pa rin. No? And it depends on you on how you're going to really strategize yung techniques mo dito para makuha yung performance less or performance skills na gusto mong ma-attain. And application naman, ito ay it follows a development lesson that there is impression without a corresponding expression or application lesson which gives a child a chance to express, no, or apply what he has learned. So after arriving at generalization, one needs to apply it for further verification. Here, the conditions are created, no, that will lead pupils to express. To express, ano yung express? Yung action, yung construction ng knowledge, yung presentation. Kasi target din natin na when you let or when you give them something, no, to explore upon for a day, dapat alam din nila paano i-share yon, no, or i-present sa klase. Okay? So ito yung forms or techniques. So meron tayong mga forms like dramatization, oral reading, written composition, storytelling, construction and drawing, singing, creative work. Mga ano lang naman din ito, traditional pero still vital sa ngayon. And we know naman, pabalik na tayo sa face-to-face, no? Meron ng around 100 or 200 schools ngayon sa DepEd na nag-face-to-face na. Kasi they are not really highly infected by the emergency crisis. So tayo din ay mag-prepare na din. After that, we are venturing on a new journey, and that is to apply for the job. No? So sa technique naman, we are talking about the motivation, statement of a problem or task, or and the necessity of information. Another lesson is the supervised study lesson. No? So here, a child should have needs early application for different subject. No? Supervised study directs the student in the use and mastery of the best techniques of efficient study, like ano yung mga techniques of learning, with the teacher serving as a guide in various study. Okay? Procedures. So ito yung mga rationale for the lesson, like many of the failures and drop on school are due to poor study habits. No? Many homes do not have proper conditions, lalo na ngayon, no, na may pandemic. So minsan mga teachers sa provinces ay binibisita talaga yung mga estudyante nila. Ngayon nakikita ko yung mga, because I come from Surigao, so may mga estudyante ako doon na talagang they are visiting their students kasi nga because of the recent typhoon, yung Odette, so talagang affected ang mga learners. No? It kailangan from that, nag-i-extend tayo ng patience when it comes to submission. No? So ito yung mga forms of supervised study lessons. No? So, just see for yourself. And then meron tayong appreciation lesson. It is one that is designed, no, to lead the class to enjoy something. So one cannot fully appreciate one was that does not appreciate or does not understand or enjoy. So dapat doon pa lang sa motivation lesson, na-engage na natin sila to really enjoy learning or maybe make it joyful and meaningful. So an appreciation lesson should be a lesson in values. So sa ngayon, marami na tayong pwedeng gawin like YouTube videos na parang we can have motivational stuffs or mga pictures, mga images para mas na-appreciate ng mga estudyante natin, no, yung mga lessons. No? So may purpose sila na enjoyed ang mga estudyante, worthwhile yung learning experience. No? So kunyari sa literature, sa music, no? So we train values. And we do have types of appreciation. May tinatawag tayong aesthetic. So aesthetic is derived from situations that are artistic, inspiring, and then ethical or social, like it comes from satisfaction and recognizing social or moral qualities of goodness and truth in a situation. And then technical or intellectual, like it stems from admiration of the technique, skill and performance of the mind that produces creation. So dito, may procedure tayo. So this might be asked doon sa licensure examination ninyo. So may preliminary stages tayo like syempre ganun pa rin state of readiness, no? And then sa lesson proper, may immediate preparation, no? May hour of preparation, aesthetic discussion, and reproduction. So, ganun pa rin, may plan for instruction, may lesson planning, no? And what matters now is sa condition ngayon, since all Department of Education teachers are still um, required to follow what's indicated in the milk. So, it's imperative that we are always adhering to it. So ano ba ang basic parts of a lesson plan? So paki-screenshot ito or maybe siguro alam niyo na to, no? This might be another review for you to do or baka tanungin din sa doon sa exam. So ito yung objectives in which we know that this is anchored on the three targets like meron tayong cognitive. So alam niyo natin yung mga verbs ni Bloom's, no, ni Krathul, and then yung subject matter and materials, procedure, preparation, nandito sa within the bounds of the procedure, may preparation, development, application, evaluation, and assignment. And then considerations and planning. So siguro naman na paghandaan nyo na or you were able to really demonstrate your skills in demonstration teaching or siguro you're about to do that. So kailangan you need to have the specific details how to do lesson planning. So may three phase yan, yung approach na dapat nating gawin. So planning, implementing, and evaluating. And syempre yung three types of lesson plan formats. So detailed, no? So meaning lahat ng specific things na dapat ay hinihingi ng principal or yung school teachers or yung in charge, yung supervisor mo ay dapat nakalagay. Normally, ito ay required for the first 3 years na ikaw ay teacher. Minomonitor yung progress mo when it comes to lesson planning. Semi-detailed lesson plan, yung parang few lang yung nandoon and selected yung mga substantiated parts lang and brief lesson plan. And then along the way, when we are talking about principles of teaching, nandun din yung teaching aids and instructional materials. Because we know that students learn in different ways like visual, no? Haptics, like touch, and sa audio, no? Or pwede ding kinesthetic, no? So dapat ready tayo sa teaching aids, no? Like sa paggamit ng laptop, yung mga PowerPoint materials para they will be enhanced and enticed to really participate in the day's discussion. And then IMs or instructional materials like mga syllabus, libro, yung mga modules na ginagamit ng mga professors nyo or ikaw mismo ikaw ay gumagawa ng ganon. Okay? And then meron tayong classifications of teaching aids like classification 1, non-electronic or electronic. Classification 2, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na auditory, visual, and audiovisual. And meron din tayong iba pang uri. So, ngayon, napakaswerte natin. Meron ng YouTube, Spotify, you can record everything, Screencastify, merong Kahoot. So everything is available under the sun. What matters is for us to be open, no? To really engage and learn these things para ma-share natin sa mga estudyante. Kasi iba na ngayon ang landscape ng learning. Dapat nakikipag ano din tayo sa mga estudyante kasi we are, I mean, they are digital natives. And let's accept na some teachers are still digital immigrants. They are still adjusting, right? And when it comes to classification of instructional materials, meron tayong traditional resources, digital media, and testing resources. So, dito naman tayo sa writing objectives as a sort of review na rin. So, when planning lessons, alam natin yung goals na dapat nating i-target. And syempre, yung SMART, yung specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Dapat ito yung guiding principle natin, personal mantra in crafting our objectives. And syempre, we should never forget the helpful 100 verbs na kailangan natin gamitin based on the Bloom's Taxonomy of Learning. And marami naman ito sa internet na pwede nating i-explore para magamit, no, especially when you are in the actual field of teaching. Now, along the way, kasama na doon yung assessment. No? So don't worry, my dear participants, because I believe you're going to have a separate review on assessment of learning. So I'm just taking my time to include this. But what is assessment, by the way? No? So assessment methods should be the instructor's way of questioning or maybe assessing the student's understanding, no? Or paano nila na process yung information, ano yung dapat i-modify mo along the way when getting the result of your discussion. So information about student learning can be accessed through both direct and indirect measures. So mayroon tayong tinatawag na summative and formative assessments. So summative, ito yung mga final midterm exams. Formative, ito yung mga along the way, no, before exam na like the performance-based tasks, quizzes. Now may question ako sa participants natin. I want you to answer this in 1 minute. Are you going to record diagnostic assessments? You may answer in the chat box, please. I'm going to check, no, kung nandyan pa kayo. Sige po, pakisagot sa chat box. So I'm monitoring the chat box kung may mga sasagot. Hello? Nandyan pa ba kayo? Si Edison? Do you think diagnostic assessments are recorded? Is it recorded? You may answer in the chat box. For me, no po. Bakit, Raymond? Ayan, I really appreciate Raymond's participation, no? You are correct, Raymond, actually, because you are just assessing and it's unfair, no, for the students to record their diagnostic assessments. And based on DepEd Memo number 8, series of 2013 or 12, diagnosis assessments are not recorded. Baka itanong yaan doon sa licensure examination. Si Erica has also, thank you so much, thank you for answering. Ayan, no, so you're correct. So I'm sure you're aware of how to measure the understanding of our students because of assessment. Nakakabigay tayo ng desisyon. And sometimes sa isang university, when students passed the board exams, it shows the quality, the quality delivery of the programs. No? Kunyari sa PUP, maraming passers, so it does really help, no? When it comes to boosting the quality of the institution. In the same way, when you see your students who are really competitive and thriving, no, doon sa board exams, so napakaganda nun sa UTN as a teacher, kasi our job is, or yung mission natin, hindi lang naman doon when they have their graduation, no? Basically, dapat yung mission natin ay dapat employable sila, pumasa sa LET, no? I'm happy yung mga estudyante ko ay nandito pa rin. Hindi pa sila umaalis, so thank you so much. So, ayan, malapit na tayong matapos, don't worry. So ito naman yung types of teaching approaches, methods, strategies that are still very useful nowadays. Kahit na ngayon ay nag-i-embrace na tayo ng Education 5.0. So we do have generally accepted teaching methods. Ito yung deductive or expository. And then meron tayong tinatawag na inductive or exploratory. So, and then when it comes to general teaching approaches, we do have direct or indirect teaching. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng direct or teacher-centered? No? It requires less delivery time. It uses or utilizes expositive strategies, tapos less yung student involvement. Unlike doon sa indirect na talagang it requires more delivery time, utilizes discover strategies, and high student involvement. No? So ito na yung uso ngayon, and we should adhere to this type of principles para mas mag-guide natin yung mga estudyante na maging leaders no, sa sarili nilang mga gawa, and pag nag-apply na sila ng work, they can easily solve problems because we train them to be. Noong kayo yung mga estudyante or ngayon kung estudyante pa kayo, hindi niyo siya na-appreciate. Pero kailangan di tayo nagre-reklamo because it's one way not to really build your own learning then, or your own leadership and management skills. No? So when to use this approach? So ayan yung concerns natin, yung type of subject matter for if it's direct teacher-centered, so content, no? Content yung pinag-uusapan. Kung indirect naman, learner-centered experience, kasi alam natin na authentic or real life learning experience ay pivotal doon sa buhay ng isang learner, no? So it's may sinabi na there could be a death of pen and paper assessments in 2026. So dapat prepared tayo na dapat yung skills, both hard and soft skills, ay dapat ma-achieve ng mga estudyante natin. May desired outcomes like factual information for direct, and indirect naman, development, formulation of concept, principles, skills, attitudes, and values. And then learning environment, you're similar for direct, and then indirect, different. And constraints, ito yung information directly available for direct, and then sa indirect naman, information can be rediscovered. So ito yung direct approach or teacher-centered methods. Meron tayong deductive, demonstration or showing, and lecture. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng deductive? So it's a telling method where facts, concepts, principles, and generalizations are stated, presented, defined, interpreted by the teacher, and followed by the application or testing of these concepts, principles, and generalization in new examples generated by students. So meron tayong tatlong steps like introduction, presentation, and application. The next one is demonstration or showing. So ito yung activity na ang concern ay how things are done in front of the class. Meaning, students will demonstrate in front of the class. May performance-based. Ito yung uso na ginagawa ng DepEd. Or kahit sa atin, sa higher education institutions, di ba yung outcome-based education na na-introduce noong 2013. No? So may 3 steps siya. Ito yung introduction, may orientation and motivation, may work period, and culminating activities. The next one is lecture method. No? May clarifying or explaining major ideas, as in the form of questions, problems, and only the teacher has the information or material. So ito yung mga procedure in the lecture, like may introduction, no? We let our students arouse their interest on a certain lesson. May presentation of the body or yung content, yung practical illustration, and the conclusion. So indirect naman or learner-centered method, so we are catering on the concept learning, may inquiry, inductive, we are considering yung constructivism pa rin, going on to the foundational frameworks until the knowledge goes on and on. No? So yung laboratory where students like sa science class, they're engaged no, to delve into something, to solve into something, design something para basically they can present it in front of the class. And project or practical work. Meron din tayong tinatawag na conceptual learning, like ano ba ang tinatawag na concept attainment? So, learners define concepts after analyzing the salient attributes of the examples. And dinidisregard natin yung not so important. Gaya ngayon, nagre-review kayo. I assume that these things are quite imperative, they're of necessity during your Prof Ed exam. So dapat i-familiarize natin yung mga concepts na pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. It's being concise na or kinapture ko na para along the way pag may mga question na situational, you can easily answer. Meron ding concept development, like learners develop a general idea after a process of identification and differentiation. Ito din, isa sa mga inintroduce ng DepEd memo, ng Republic Act 10533, yung K-12 ang paggamit ng inquiry or problem solving, where students are asked to really find solutions to the problem inquiry given by the teachers. May mga problem questions na binibigay and ang student na yung naghahanap ng sagot. Di ba mas maganda yon? Yung ibang estudyante hindi naiintindihan, but this is one of the best approaches para ma-intensify yung perceptual, yung cognitive, yung mental processes, yung skills nila sa paggawa. Connected, affective, cognitive, and psychomotor. Discovery, so let them cry, let them face failure, let them discover. Kasi lahat naman ay na-appreciate nila yan pag meron silang mga challenges na na-encounter along the way, when performing something or discovering something. No? Nandun lang tayo nag-guide or maybe answering their inquiries. No? So this is the type of discovery learning. And syempre, laboratory, so it's more on effectively used in science, na may mga apparatuses. Can you still recall your science classes? May mga lab gowns tayo, may mga nandun tayo sa laboratory. So, ito yung mahirap ngayon kasi paano gagawin ng isang science teacher. Kaya nga, nag-i-innovate tayo. Paano to i-strengthen sa online classes or sa modular classes. So, ayun, nag-aaral tayo ng mga modules, paano yung paggawa ng tamang module para mas ma-connect natin yung lesson for a day doon sa kanila. And then process approach, importante ito whether we are teaching or not or when they are dealing with our classroom instruction. So ano yung process approach? Emphasis is on process such as measurement, inference, hypothesis, prediction, controlling variables, experimentation, and communication. So, along the way, pag nagpa-process, ina-activate natin yung brain ng mga estudyante natin. So, meron tayong mga strategies na ginagawa. So, balik tayo doon sa student engagement. So, naghahanap tayo ng mga possible ways to entice them to listen. Yung first 10 seconds. Importante yun sa attention span ng mga estudyante. And based on research, talagang naging 7 seconds na lang yung attention span ng mga estudyante. Kaya ngayon, nagre-let review tayo, konti na lang yung nakikinig, kunyari. So, importante yung makapture natin yung attention span. No? Getting acquainted with the materials, involvement in the activities, and extension activities. Another one is project or practical work. Merong purposeful and constructive activities needing both intellectual and physical solution like proposing, planning, executing, and evaluating. And ito rin yung mga other approaches. Ngayon, ito na yung mga sikat ngayon actually sa 21st century teaching. Constructivism. No? Here, the teacher is filling more knowledge doon sa mental processes ng mga estudyante until until the target is manifested and attained. Cooperative learning where students are grouped para basically they can share information and respect diversities when it comes to sharing. Distance learning, gaya ng ginagawa natin ngayon, nagre-review tayo noon face-to-face. Actually, in-invite ako nung nagta-travel pa ako, sa iba't ibang lugar. Pero ngayon, we can do this online and dapat next time marami na kayo kasi free let review ito. Sayang yung opportunity, no? Metacognitive learning, multiple intelligence-based, and peer tutoring or tutoring. And cooperative learning. So ito naman ay familiar sa inyo, no? So it's vital that we because men by nature or students by nature are social human beings, so they need to collaborate from other groups para naiintindihan nila ano yung feeling ng pagiging social human being, how do they respect the opinions of others. Hindi yung pag may nakita nagpo-post agad sa Facebook kasi along the way when they're employed already, they know how to respond to negativities kasi they are used to be able to collaborate with others. Jigsaw, no? Yan, cooperative learning. And then distance learning, no? Ito yung mode of delivering education and teaching, often on an individual basis, or yung provide access to learning when the source of information and the learners are separated by time and distance or both. Another one is program instruction. It adheres to Skinner's operant conditioning. So here it contains simple instructional patterns and immediate feedback or reinforcement. So may mga samples tayo like teaching machine or programmed textbooks. So sa metacognitive naman, so it's important kasi ang target natin dito yung intellectual capacity, intellective capacities ng mga estudyante natin. So aware sila and they can control their own learning. So may mga metacognitive techniques tayo dito na identify like advanced organization, organizational planning, directed attention, selective attention, and others. Okay? So how do we determine learning activities? So doon yun, we introduce the lesson. So dapat alam natin na based on the objectives, students or our learners can profit from the experience. No? Kaya it's also good na from the start of the lesson, you should share kung ano yung objectives ng a day's lesson. May mga ganong institutions or school actually. Yung kailangan authentic and contextualized based sa learning nila. Kunyari, ang topic is about tourism, tapos doon sa libro, ang nakalagay, tourism about sa Greece. So if ikaw ang teacher doon, paano mo siya i-contextualize doon sa lesson? Kunyari, if you come from Taguig, no? So it must challenge, no? How do we design? It challenges the learners, no, to ask questions, and it provides opportunities for content mastery as well as broad and deep study. So kailangan appropriate siya doon sa understanding ng learners. May feasibility, variety, and optimal value. Okay? Meron din tayong tinatawag na teaching techniques like Socratic. No? It's more about questioning, more on asking divergent questions, and both are throwing questions and answers. No? May reading, research, case study analysis, field trip, no? Inviting resource persons, constructing projects. And ito yung mga traditional techniques na talagang effective pa din naman ngayon like role-playing, panel discussion, symposium debate is also one of the best ways you can let your students do in the classroom para engaged sila critically. No? Games, classroom discussion, and seat work. And then meron din tayong tinatawag na structure-oriented techniques like group, dyad, or it could be independent or individualized. So to end, let me share this adage with you, my dear participants. So a teacher affects eternity. In the long run, you'll be teacher. So I hope you'll not be tired to continually embrace professional enhancement. So this endeavor that you have just participated now is one way, no, to really do some self-care, no, and that's to fill in mentally your capacity because eventually when you take the exam, you will remember all these things. Okay, so thank you everyone. We are for difference, for respecting difference, for valuing difference until difference no longer makes a difference. Okay, so thank you so much, WJRC and my dear participants. And shout out sa mga students ko sa PUP Taguig. Marami pa tayong let review na ibibigay ang WJRC lecturers from PNU. So I hope you're going to take part. Thank you, Sir Jack, and the PCPD people and WJRC.
Thank you, Dr. Anabelle A. Gordonas, for that comprehensive review for licensure examination. Actually, basic lang yung mga ni Dr. Gordonas, no, ang shinare niya. Magkakaroon pa kami ng mga programs, in-depth review naman po ito. Ito na po yung merong fee. So, i-announce po namin kung kailan po mag-uumpisa yon. And then for our next schedule for our let review by WJRC Review Center is on February 16. February 16.
Mm-hmm.
Ang ating speaker is si Dr. Rowena Hibanada from the PNU, Philippine Normal University, Manila.
Yeah, so
And
they're very lucky, no, na ang mga lecturers are from high prestigious talaga. So sana ma-appreciate nila yon. I would pwede bumati lang sir sa mga nag-ano sa akin, nakinig.
Sige
Si
po. Sige po.
Tracy, si Ian Dexter nandito, si Raymond, si Ashnia, Olog, si Edison, si Erica, I know nandito pa sila ngayon. Huwag kayong mag-stop, never stop learning. Marami pang ibibigay ang WJRC. Si Arian Suarez, sila po ay magti-take din na exam soon. Hello, Tracy. So, hello, Arian. So, thank you sa inyo. So, hindi ko na mention. Sorry, pero I really appreciate your presence.
Yes po. So, kindly
Happy ka ba,
join us
Sir Jack?
again on po.
Happy ka ba? Happy Valentine's Day?
Yes po. Happy Valentine's Day po sa lahat ng ating manonood. So,
Seryoso ka naman?
please join us again on February 16, 2022. Same
Yes,
same
yes.
point in time at 3 p.m. And then ang ating speaker is si Dr. Rowena Hibanada. He will be focusing her session on child and adolescent development. So expertise po ito ni Doc Hibanada ng PNU. And then on February 18, ang ating pong lecturer from PNU also, Dr. Nino Naldoza. Ang kanyang topic naman ay educational technology. So that is on February 18 at 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. naman po siya. So sa mga susunod po na mga lecture series natin, i-announce na lang po namin sa mga susunod na araw po.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat. Please don't forget to follow our page, yung official page po, Facebook page ng WJRC Review Center for LPT or for sa mga graduate po ay Let Review by WJRC Review Center. Ulitin ko po yung ating Facebook page, Let Review by WJRC Review Center. Ayan po, ilalagay po ni Sir Ken yung exact na name ng page natin.
Thank you, Sir Ken, for assisting us. Sir Ken, nandito si Arian sa ano. Okay. So, ayan, babay na ba? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc G. See you again sa mga
God
susunod na review.
bless.
Arian daw.